What do you like more, French press or pour over? Well, today we're going to be putting them to the test head to head to see which one makes a better cup of coffee. They're both going to be using 18 grams of ground coffee to 270 grams of 200-degree water. So let's get brewing with French press first. French press is one of the easiest ways to make coffee. All you have to do is start with 18 grams of ground beans. And then you want to add 270 grams of water. Now I'm using a scale here so I get the right amount. And we're going to add in 270 grams. All right, we are at 270. Now we are going to wait 4 minutes. All right, we have waited 4 minutes for our coffee to properly steep here in the French press. And now all we have to do is gently push this down. So with the French press, what you're doing now is pushing those beans, those ground beans, into the bottom. And what that's gonna do is it's just gonna separate the coffee from the ground beans, but there are some drawbacks there. Let's try a cup. So as you can see, we get a nice single cup of coffee from that ratio. Now, we're gonna test it. That is by no means a bad cup of coffee. It's low in acidity, but also a little bit low in character. There's just not a lot of interesting notes coming through. Really just think your standard cup of coffee that you pick up down the road, and that's what you're getting here. Why don't we jump over to our pour over, which surprisingly is my preferred format to make my own coffee. So let's jump over. So here we are, we've got a pour over setup. Now this is a Hario switch, which has a little bit of a special function for a pour over, but we're not gonna be using that today. We're just gonna be doing a standard pour over. The ratio remains the same. We have 18 grams of coffee and we're gonna add 270 grams of water. So let's get brewing. First, of course, we're gonna add our coffee in. And there we are, right at 270 grams. Now we just have to wait for this to filter through our pour over, and then we're gonna sample. Okay, so now our water has completely gone through our pour over, and I'm just going to flick the switch up here so I don't spill any coffee, and we're just gonna put that over there. So now we've got a standard amount of coffee, just like before. You can see they produced pretty much the exact same amount of final coffee. Let's give this a try. So right off the bat, you can tell that there's a little bit more nuance in this cup of coffee. Now, these are locally roasted beans and they are a medium roast, so I'm not expecting a ton of character compared to a light roast, but still I'm getting more coming through in my cup here. Both the acidity in the pour over and the French press was almost identical, pretty much non-existent. But in this cup of coffee, what I'm getting is a little bit more, I would say, chocolate and chestnut, whereas before I wasn't really getting a lot of that flavor in the French press. It was just sort of bland, and I don't even know how to put it. It almost tasted just like your coffee that you pick down at McDonald's or Tim Hortons or Starbucks. I would personally always recommend that a pour over is superior to a French press. Not only is a pour over going to be slightly faster than a French press would, I just find that if you're looking to really create the best cup of coffee that you can, a pour over is generally going to be the best. Now, when we're talking about the Hario switch, we're going to get into that in another video where we can really start to dial it in versus just doing the generic pour over style that I did in this video. So, verdict is pour over is superior. I'll see you guys in the next video.